Hello, everyone. This is Nate Curran, and here to talk to you about a little 401k updates that we've made to the system. So thank you, everybody, for taking some time out of your day, and know that this is can be kind of a busy time of the year, especially heading into the holidays. So we appreciate that you're taking some time today. If you could please remain on mute. There is a question section where you can ask questions and just type them in, and we'll address those throughout the presentation. So feel free to submit those questions at any point in time, and we'll make sure that we get those answered kind of throughout the time that we have here. We're planning on, this is probably going to be somewhere in that 45 to 50-minute range. It could be a little bit more depending on the number of questions, but just to kind of give you some expectations of time. I do want to introduce our presenters today. So the first up is Kevin Sedgwick. He is our Director of 401k Administration. So Kevin, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure.
And then as well as the infamous Jason Knight. So, you know, Jason, as most of you are pretty familiar with Jason and everything that he does here. And so he's going to help us out as well and kind of talk about, you know, the impacts to each of you as clients here. So Jason, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Awesome. So with that, let's get started. So the agenda today, we're going to talk about some of the updates and why we did the updates to the 401k and what does that really look like, as well as kind of walk you through kind of screen by screen of those changes and what you and your employees can expect as you go into Viper and really look at the 401k infrastructure that we've put out there. We'll talk about some of those upgrades and some of the new insights that you can gain into your 401k, as well as just kind of what it talks about. We know we have a wide variety of clients here that have joined us today that, you know, some of you are existing 401k clients of ours. Some of you don't have a 401k, and some of you are kind of interested because maybe you have a 401k somewhere else. And so we'll try to touch on each one of those as we go throughout to try to give you as much information as we can. So with that, we'll get started. So Kevin, wanted to kind of talk about, and Jason, you know, why did we make this change? You know, we've had a 401k for many years.
Sure.
And it's been great. It's been, you know, something that our clients have been really happy with and pleased about. So why are we making such a huge change?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, this has been something that we've been wanting to do for several years now. The previous 401k system that we used was created by a third party, which we have licensed, and kind of the biggest complaint that we would hear from our clients is we have all of this stuff greatly integrated within the Tag Viper system, and then off to the side is 401k, and that I really never liked that. So we went to the development team, asked them, put them with the task of integrating everything, so people have a one-stop shop. They can hop into Viper, they can look at payroll, they can look at benefits, they can look at 401k. There's no separate logins. Beyond that, we wanted to have the ability to really create a vast user experience and finally be able to do the things that people have been requesting over the years. Things like being able to do some retirement planning, do some look at investments in an easy way, really reduce the number of viewpoints and click points that people had to do to get things done as far as 401k goes.
Awesome. So just give me a second here. We're having a little bit of a technical issue with Jason. He's trying to talk and just can't really get him to you know, we kind of shut him down here a little bit. So So I guess with those changes then, so like talk about like just some of the benefits then that, with, kind of bringing that technology in-house. What was, what does that really, how does that benefit our clients? What are some of the key points that we're looking at from a client standpoint?
Sure. So one of the biggest things that we're going to have the ability to do is we no longer have to rely on things like paper enrollment forms. So we can do online enrollment, get it in, get people allocated. They can look at all of their investments, see what is performing well, what isn't performing well, really give an information dump and ease of access to all of our clients. That was the primary. Secondarily, establishing a 401k, we want it to be easy. Right now, it was a lot of back and forth with paper, a lot of back and forth with questions and whatnot, and we wanted to really be able to streamline that process. Plus, having the ability for someone to view their account quickly. Future enhancements, we're talking about online distribution ability, really cut out all of the forms.
Awesome. And I think that the cool thing too is that, this really, you and I have both worked at many different companies before,
Sure.
Right? And so, you go to your employee portal and it seemed more like it was just kind of like a link farm, right? So you kind of jumped, you'd go to that employee portal and you would link out and you'd see somebody else's, you'd have to go someplace else for health benefits. You'd have to go someplace else for, your FSA or your HSA, and then, and then your 401k was never on your same platform. And so I think kind of one of the cool things about this is that now, like, our clients' employees can really, they have a reason to actually use Viper now, right? Because they can manage all of their benefits, their 401k, it's all integrated right there, and it's super easy to use.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can come in the morning, log in, clock in, check your 401k balance. If you heard the market went up or what have you, have it all really one stop. There's no need to really go anywhere else any longer.
Cool. I think we finally have Jason back. Jason, do you have anything to add to that?
Whew, I tell you what, that was dark days where I can't be heard when I'm on a webinar. So, but no, yeah, you guys covered it really well. Certainly, for anybody that's been with TAG for any length of time, our entire methodology is around the concept of integrating everything into Viper, having that one portal that you can go to and not just have a link to something else. And we have a few of those still that kind of remain. One of the big ones was our 401k, but now with this, that becomes embedded right into Viper too. So simplicity and ease of use is everything that we're about, and this is a big step for that.
Awesome. So, well, why don't we jump right into it and see what some of those enhancements are. So, probably the big thing is just getting into. I am on fire today. So, I know. So, getting into the 401k dashboard. So it's just straight from Viper, and it's super easy.
Real simple. 401k is considered to be a benefit, so we're better to go than view benefits. Hospital-looking building. It's gonna be in different places depending on who's logging in, but they should be able to see it right away. Click that bright orange link, view benefits, bring you right over to the next screen.
Awesome.
So from View Benefits, along the left-hand side, you'll see big bold letters says 401k. It's going to give you the balance. So if you don't want to dive deep and really look at everything or individual investments, you just want an idea where you're at, there it is. If you want to dive deep, click on the orange details link below the balance, and it's going to bring you to the wallet summary screen.
One thing I want to jump in here real quick, Nate, thank you. We introduced wallets earlier this year, so folks that are already on like an HSA or an FSA, et cetera, those balances are listed in the same exact spot. So that wallets tab on the left there can have your FSA and your 401k on it, etc., in one quick view. And then when you jump into the summary, when you go to the details, you'll have tabs across the top of 401k or FSA or HSA or whatever it is. So the functionality of what we already put into place earlier this year was partially because of this change that was coming throughout the year with the 401k as well.
Awesome. So this is kind of a, this will be kind of that one stop, again, kind of, going towards our philosophy of centralizing all of that information for, for your employees. This is kind of, one more step into integrating all those together.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, so we have kind of that wallet summary. So from a 401k standpoint, what can you do within your 401k wallet?
So within the 401k, after you click on that 401k tab, first thing you see in big bold letters, there's that balance again, and then right next to it, year-to-date change. Basically, how your investments have been doing year-to-date. If they're on the positive, like in this example, bright green numbers. If the market has dropped and you happen to be in the negative, they will be red numbers. So, red light stop, green means go.
We don't like red.
Yeah, we don't like red.
No red. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen. These are your individual investments that you have selected. Right at a glance, you see the name, you see how many of the actual shares you hold, the unit price, that's what it closed at the night before, because mutual funds are always priced at the end of the day. The dollar balance, how much of your total account is in that fund. And then we've got something really, really cool here. We have a link up with all of the markets, and these figures change on a daily basis. They change around 9:30 at night Arizona time. We get the feed from them. You can see all of the changes on your funds. Not only that, if you're looking at the individual investments, which we'll view later on, those numbers again update daily. So you can see real time, as real as mutual fund updates go, which is daily, how your funds are performing. So you can use that immediately without going to a third party site, without going to any type of Googling. You can see something and get nice basic data. Now, if you wanted to see something a little bit more in depth, if you were to click on the name of the fund, it will actually bring you to Yahoo Finance, and it will bring up that individual fund. So if you wanted to do a deep dive, if you really wanted to see what it's invested in, what the returns have been, how it's performed over a long period of time, charts, graphs, anything you can imagine, we have that ability pulled up here, immediately accessible.
Awesome. So just real quick before we kind of go deeper into the 401k, there was a real quick question on the HSAs within the wallets. And Jason, this one might be for you, but are we able to integrate external HSAs into these wallets? Do we have a feed for that, or is this only for the HSAs that we administer?
This is for our HSA program. So okay. Whether it's FSA, HSA, et cetera, it's for the programs that we administer. It's the tag stuff. So
Okay, cool. Thank you. So as we kind of go back in there, I mean, I think it's kind of cool because you get that instant snapshot. It's that instant gratifications for those of us that look at our retirements on a daily, weekly basis.
Yeah.
Even though it's 15, 20 years out, I'm counting how many rounds of golf I can get exactly. Based on that day. So yeah, it's kind of a really cool snapshot of where you are. Is there anything else that's kind of like, we kind of talked about the integration with Yahoo Finance and being, is there anything else that's kind of like one of those cool factors that we've built into that dashboard?
Well, definitely the information about the investments has been probably the biggest advance that we've done. Prior with the old system, the third-party system, there wasn't really any type of easily viewable information. It would just strictly be the name of the fund and you would click on the link, and sometimes it took you to a page, sometimes it didn't take you to the page, which is one of our biggest frustrations with the software. And so when we, being a software company, decided to really expand on the 401k, the biggest gift that we wanted was the ability to make the employees to be able to make a conscious decision on what they're investing in. You know, it takes away a lot of the throw a dart at the board.
Awesome. So let's talk about some of those actions and activities that we can do kind of within the dashboard.
Sure.
So there's, I mean, I think the kind of the cool thing here is that, you know, again, from kind of previous experience and even from our past 401k provider, a lot of this stuff is kind of buried, right? You had to kind of go and search for, like, okay, I want to check out where my loan is and where that activity is. We brought that all up to the front.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people's 401k providers, they love the drop down. They love I want to do activities. Okay, what kind of activities? Transfers. Okay, transfer of what kind? And you get into this click abyss, as I like to call it. From here, you know, right there, you've got 10 options. What do you need to do today? See it, click on it, you're brought right into it. There is no peck and hunt.
Yep. So let's kind of go through some of these. So, you know, we have the update elections, which is, you know, this is kind of standard across every 401k that anybody has ever had, right? I mean, it's typically, you have, you know, the list of all the funds that are available for your particular program, and then you just fill out your percentages.
Right.
We've done a little bit more for that.
We've done some intelligent thinking behind how we're displaying these. So this is a partial shot of what the investment, what's cut off is like the name of the funds and whatnot. But for the sake of the example, we've built in a smart engine that looks at what the returns have been on that particular investment compared to one of the market indexes known as the S&P 500. S&P 500 tends to follow what mutual funds do more so than, say, the Dow Jones Industrial or the NASDAQ. So what this does right here at a glance, you can see, again, the green and the red. How has it performed to the S&P? If it's doing worse than, if it's doing better than, immediately you've got the options available. Once again, we want you to have access to information. So we've got the click here. I want to do a deeper dive. I want to know the top 10 investments. I want to know what sectors they're invested in. I want to know, you know, who the portfolio manager is and how long he's been managing the fund. The option is there for you. If you want to be that deep of a diver within the investment elections, we're giving you all the tools to do it. If you just want to see at a glance, hey, this one's performing better than that one, I'm going to put some more money there. There you go. Just make it equal 100% is all we ask, because it won't let you continue if you don't.
Awesome. And excuse me, at this point in time, I do want to remind everybody that this presentation will go out after the webinar.
Yes.
We'll post it to both within Viper as well as our blog, so that, you know, you'll have access to all of this stuff after. So if we're going a little bit fast, you know, you don't have to worry about it. But if you do have questions, let us know. Yeah, there will be a quiz at the end of this.
Exactly. But there is a cheat sheet available when you first log into that wallet on View Benefits. There is a link that says 401k instructions. So there's a PDF available as well.
Awesome. So as we go through and transfer and rebalances, again, this is probably, you know, there's not too many people that actually, you know, typically utilize these types of functionalities, but we've kind of made it easier for those that do like to do this.
Exactly. So the biggest thing that people tend to do when it comes to their investments, you know, most people in the 20 years I've been doing this, let's be honest, they select when they first enroll and they never change a thing. Easily, I would say 3/4 of the people do that. There are some who are a little bit more savvy and look at it much more often and make changes as the markets change. We make it very, very simple. List out all the funds that are available. Again, there's that information on what it's returned. What is my return on investment? Do I want to make a change? If I want to make a change, enter in your new percentages. In the background, what our system is then going to do is it's going to say, okay, this person wants 34% of their assets in this Lord Abbott fund. So I'm going to make adjustments in the background, buy a little of this, sell a little of that. So the next day when everything settles out, it's going to line up 34 year, 17 year, etc., all the way to 100%. No need to hunt around and say, okay, well, I want to move 2,000 from here, and then that'll be about 30%, and 3,000 from here, and that'll be about. Put in the numbers you want. We take care of everything.
That's awesome. So, and then we also kind of give you kind of, okay, here's what it actually looks like, right? Here's where you are today, and here's where you will be, by the time that everything is rebalanced.
Exactly. So color-coded pie chart matches with the funds. You'll see a little sliver of color next to the funds. So at a glance, you can tell, okay, most of it is going into this one, and the others are distributed pretty evenly. When I make these changes, okay, it's going to look like this now. Even easier, right at the bottom of the screen there, you see allocation options. I want to change my elections to match my new allocations. What that does, it says all new money that goes in is going to match up alongside with how you've allocated here today. If you don't want it to, if you're just preserving your balance, moving it into a money market, say, you can flip that to no, it goes into the investments again, and just that old existing money went into your distribution.
So, Kevin, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So, are there any limits to the number of transfers or rebalances that you can do within a 12-month period?
Not within a 12-month period. One thing to be aware of, because of the way a rebalance works, and we do have stop gaps in place, if you enter in a rebalance, one thing, because the way mutual funds are traded, you will not see it reflect right away. So it does take a 24-hour period. We have to do the buys and sells. Everything reflects the next day around noon. If you go back in and say, oh, you know what? I meant to do this, not that. First thing you'll see is a pop-up message that says, hey, you've got a pending order. If you want to change it, we're going to void that order out, put in a brand new one, click all the way to the end. We will use that order, provided it's before the markets have closed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that we've put in to make sure, hey, just be aware, you're avoiding this order, you're putting in a new one. Now, how many times you can do this throughout the year? If you wanted to do it daily, you could absolutely do it daily. Most people don't make their investment options daily, but we do want to give you the ability should you want to. Just be aware that
we
you
don't
can do multiple times a day.
Go ahead, Jason.
I said, and we don't recommend changing them daily.
Yeah.
Market timing never works out in the long run.
Yeah. I think the kind of the cool thing there is, this is a big change from where traditional 401ks have been, where you could set up your auto rebalance on a quarterly basis, and we allow for that, right? Yeah. For auto rebalance on a quarter, but you basically got 2 shots at that a year if you didn't do that auto rebalance, right? So because there wasn't that flexibility to say, hey, I'm not feeling good about where the elections are, since that's what seems to be on everybody's mind right now. So, yeah. And so I want to switch into different things. Well, if you did that in February at the beginning of COVID, and then you felt good during the summer, maybe you wouldn't have that opportunity. Whereas now through our system, you can you have more control over your retirement funds.
We put you fully in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So the next one is, and this is one for that I absolutely love, because I probably play with this. This is where us dreamers spend a lot of our time, and kind of plan out. Like, I know it's 20 years from now, but I do want to be a professional golfer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
My handicap right now is right around 25, so I think I have some time to get that down. But
handicap is your golf game. Got it.
And that's what this is for. This is strictly one more tool we've put in the shed, and it's a neat little toy. Like you said, it lets you kind of get an idea. Hey, I'm going to put in X amount dollars a month. I want to retire at this age. I'm I believe the growth is going to be X% over year. We pre-filled it at 2% because we're being ultra conservative. But let's say the way the markets have been, you put in 7-8%. I'm thinking about increasing my contributions as I start earning more money. Maybe 1% a year. And then it looks at the back end. Okay, after I retire at 65, well, I'm probably going to withdraw 2-3% of it, whatever we want. Again, we pre-populated it with 2. And my interest rate then growing in the accounts, maybe 6 or 7%. Once you enter all this information in and you hit calculate, what's going to pop up is this beautiful bar graph. And it's going to show your growth that you've projected. And then as you're removing assets and not putting any more money in, how long that money is going to last. So this gives you the ability to say, hey, if I want to start golfing professionally at 66 years old, I need to put more money in right now. What we hope you see is, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'll be able to play golf for 30 years after I retire. So this kind of gives you an idea, help aid in how much money I need to put away in each paycheck.
Awesome. Cool. So the next one, activities. So again, this was, being able to, go in and into, into your 401k, see what the buys and sells are, right? What your contributions are. Not a whole lot of changes here, right?
Not a whole lot. About the biggest change from the old system that you'll see, it will show cash, and the cash is, of course, the money that was pulled from the accounts and used to buy the individual investments. It's a little bit different look, but you can see what source each one went in. I mean, we've basically given you more information than before, and that's really the biggest thing we really wanted to give the user is the ability to have more information so they can do more planning, so they can see what they can see. And you can download this into Excel to make things easier so you can sort and view and delete and do what you want.
Awesome. Same thing kind of for loan activity. If you've taken out a loan, really not a whole lot of changes there other than just making it easier to find. Right?
Exactly. You make it easy to find. You can see how the payments are going, how they're being pulled. It just kind of gives you a one-stop of seeing, hey, I believe I paid this much on my loan. How much do I have left? That's the most common question we get is how much is left on my loan? If I wanted to pay it off early, what's that balance I need to send in and that sort of thing. So we just made it that much easier to pull up the info.
Awesome. So same thing. So you can have from a statement standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, typically, you'd get like a monthly statement or a quarterly statement. Actually, most of the time it's quarterly statements.
Quarterly.
But can you customize the date range on these?
Absolutely. This is probably one of the things I'm most excited about because with the prior software, it did not store any statements anywhere, which was absolutely a bug that I hated with that software company. Here, we've made it super easy. You go into the view statements option. First thing we're going to have buttons right there. I just want a quarterly statement. Usually when you're talking to a lender, you're financing a house, they'll say, hey, give me your last quarterly statement. There you are. You don't have to think about it. Click, pops up in a PDF, print it, download it, do whatever you want. Some people want a little bit more concise data. Hey, I want to do year to date. Great. Enter in 1/1/2020 to 11/19/2020. There you go. All the information, gains, withdrawals, everything that you could want, one place.
That's great. Again, this is another one for just kind of exposing more about your contributions and if you're making any changes.
This is probably one of my favorite screens because again, we're providing so much information to the end user. So often people putting in the contribution amount that they want to do per paycheck, let's face it, it's a guess. And if it's not a guess, it's okay, I want to do up to what my employer matches if they do a match. But is it really going to be enough to do what you want it to do come retirement? Here, it's a beautiful thing. What you see on the top there with choose your contribution, that'll populate on the left side of the screen. You can put an amount per payday, you can put in a percentage per payday, or you can say I don't wish to contribute. What you'll see on the left side of the screen is what's on the bottom here, your investment amount. It's going to say, okay, each payday, you're putting in $200. Every year, you're putting in $4,800. The additional amount that the government allows you to put in for this particular person, they must be over 50 years old, you can put in another $21,000. So that's $21,000 that, if you're not using it, not taking advantage of it, we're letting you know right offhand, hey, you're putting in this much, it's going to equal this much. You could do more right there before your eyes.
Awesome. Same thing with beneficiary. So, I mean, and I think like with all of these, right? I mean, it's just what we're trying to do, from that initial dashboard is what are the common actions that people take within their 401k? How do we get it, just make it easier for people to find it and to do what they need to do?
Absolutely. Beneficiary is the one thing that I stress to people time and time again, because the laws that are surrounding beneficiaries. Your beneficiary information, most people are really, really good about changing it on life insurance and those type of benefits. Well, the laws that surround that are not the same laws that surround retirement plans. So here, hop right in. You've had a life event. You've gotten married, you've gotten divorced, what have you. Click on this. It's going to bring up information. Okay, who's your beneficiary? How much do you want to give them? Simple as that. If you're married, there are some different laws in place where if your spouse is not your 100% primary beneficiary, some paperwork will be generated that has to be notarized and sent in to us. But otherwise, change the information right here on the fly. The biggest one I tell people where this comes up is they've married and then they've divorced and they have not changed their beneficiary information. If you get divorced and your ex-spouse is still listed as your beneficiary, they remain your beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
The inverse of that is also true. If you have a beneficiary election and you get married, by law, your spouse is automatically 100% your primary beneficiary. So this gives the ability to hop in, change beneficiary information on the fly, and not have to, okay, well, got to go get this, got to get that, I've got to, fill out this form, and et cetera, et cetera.
Cool.
As long as the law allows it, boom, instant change.
Awesome. This is another really cool section that we have that, typically, you've really had to dig to find this out. So, if you do have that financial need and you do want to take that loan against your 401k, if you do have that hardship or just you want to, to gain access to that, this calculator is huge. Like it allows you to model and basically compare with, taking that 401k loan versus a bank loan versus, anything like that. So, I mean, this is such a cool thing that I think that we've built in.
Yeah, I mean, it shows you at a glance what you can do, what it's going to cost. That's probably one of the biggest questions I get is, I need to take out a loan. It's going to be, $5,000. What's my payment going to look like? And because the last thing we want is somebody who's having that hardship that takes a loan. Well, now they've got another payment and they're even worse than they were before because of the inflow and outflow of cash. So, pardon me, gives you an example right off the bat. Compare the interest rates. You can see it right there. That is a field you can change depending on the plan. We've got it at 7.25, but it gives you an idea. On the other side of that, say you are looking at taking out a loan at a bank or what have you, plug in the information here as well. Plug in what the interest rates are going to offer you. You're going to see that payment and you can compare it to taking out a 401k loan.
Awesome.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea. So investment details. So again, this is just really allows you to compare, all of your investments. And I mean, this is kind of one of those standard screens, I think, in most 401ks. It's just making it very easy for you to kind of see what's available to you and what's performing or not performing based on your risk profile.
Exactly. This is another one the developers did that I really, really love. This is again showing you all the investments that are available within your company's plan. And these are those numbers I was talking about earlier that are updated on a daily basis. So that year-to-date number probably isn't going to change a whole lot day to day, but if it changes, we're changing it right along with the markets. 3 tabs there, really simple. Hey, what's the return on the investments? There you go. Asset class, if you want to know what area it's invested in, it'll say that. Sector weight, what industry is it invested in? Is it invested mostly in healthcare, real estate, what have you? It'll show you the breakdown with each fund.
Awesome, awesome. So kind of with that, then, you know, I think, you know, for those that, you know, don't currently have that 401k with us, you know, I think this is, you know, this is really about that information. You know, how easy is this to set up?
Right.
You know, I mean, what, you know, they're already, you know, an ASO customer or a payroll customer of ours. They don't have the 401k. What does it take for them to get a 401k set up?
Honestly, it's more reaching out to me and letting me know, hey, I want to set up a 401k. What do you need from me? And I do some paperwork in the background, get all the legalities out of the way. All I usually need from the clients, 3 signatures, and we're done. So, and setting up the individuals for when they want to enroll, it's all online and it takes less than 5 minutes to completely enroll, no paperwork involved.
That's awesome. So it's all digital. There's really no hard copies anymore that people need to fill out in order to enroll in the 401k.
Exactly. Everything's stored digitally and it's instantly uploaded.
Awesome. And then and that also includes, you know, all of the regulatory reporting, any of the audits that need to be done on the 401k, that's all included in all of this?
So we handle all of the compliance testing. We handle the annual filing of the Form 5500, which is basically like a tax return for your 401k. We handle all of that on an annual basis. There are some rules in place where if you have more than 100 employees, you are required to get an independent audit done on the plan. But with most of our clients, that's a non-issue because they're usually under the 100 employee mark. But we can always provide information on that should they choose it. But yeah, as far as the compliance testing goes and all that, again, the only thing I usually need from our clients is a signature.
Awesome, awesome. And Jason, this question is for you because I know you love this answer. So for those clients that don't currently have the 401k, but you know, do you have other services with us? How much more is this going to, you know, how much more out of pocket is this for those clients?
So if they're a full ASO client, it is already included in your admin fees. So if you're not taking advantage of it right now, I would advise you to contact Kevin, start taking advantage of it. If that means you don't have one at all, then you're missing out on providing a benefit for no additional cost to you folks, to your employees. You're missing out on the tax saving benefits of that, et cetera, et cetera. If you do have a 401k, it's outside of TAG, now then you're throwing away money on the cost of the administration elsewhere that, you know, is already included in your admin fees. So yeah, it's a really good decision to reach out and see if this is something that we can put in place for you, and Kevin will walk you through it. It of course is the end of the year, and we recommend, if you haven't started one already, if you don't have one already, to start it in January. The one request I'm going to say is if we've got 40 or 50 clients that don't have 401ks all reaching out at one time, there's a little bit of work involved there. Pretty easy, as Kevin just described, but there's still a little bit of time that happens there. So be patient with us. We'll get you set up as quickly as possible. But yeah, there is no additional cost for ASO clients.
Awesome, awesome. So there's the end of our sales pitch, everybody. You know that we don't. If you've been part of these in the past, we typically don't like using these as sales pitches, but this is actually something that we are extremely excited about. It really kind of streamlines everything from our standpoint, so we continue to offer this as just kind of part of the program and without any of those additional fees. But we've actually had this internally for us. We were kind of the beta clients here, the employees here, and I can just tell you that once we rolled this out, we actually had more people enroll because just how easy it was, how just friction free it was, and again, I'm a dreamer. I freaking love this stuff. So going in there, doing the retirement calculator and looking at my balances on a weekly basis, it's fun. Like it can be fun. So
one thing I'll add to this whole thing, it's not a sales pitch, just an additional thought here, is that with the employee enrollments, obviously, that is all done online now, which is a huge change in improvement, obviously, from paper and having to get that from them, send it in, us process it, et cetera, all of it happens automatically at this point. So that is fantastic. But then in addition to that, I wanted to remind people, if you do have other benefits and you use the benefit enrollment system, this is technically a separate piece. So they kind of flows the same and kind of works the same, but they are not one and the same. In other words, you don't have to wait for open enrollment for your employees to join the 401k just because it's all online now. They've never had to wait for open enrollment to do it. They have, there are various times that they're allowed to enroll, and that still applies. You also don't have life events like the health insurance and dental and vision types of things do. You need to make a change, you can go into the system and make those changes. So it functionally feels and kind of operates the same, but they're technically two separate pieces because of those regulations that are surrounding the two different types of programs. So,
great point.
Very good. So a few questions here for you guys.
Sure.
So on this update, so this is obviously that we're talking about the traditional qualified 401k plans.
Yes.
Does this also work for any Roth plans that employers have?
Absolutely. So if we think back to, let's use the contribution election screen, where you would put in the amount and it would show how much you're putting in each year and how much more you can put in. If the plan does allow for Roth 401k, which most of ours do, and if not, something we can easily amend, there'll be two boxes. One of them will say traditional pre-tax election. The second one will say Roth 401k election. So right there, easily seen, absolutely.
Awesome. So we have a couple, I think, that are kind of specific to a particular client, but I do want to kind of talk about, so we have the concept of the running balance.
Sure.
So can you describe kind of how that works? I think there's some confusion over that.
Okay.
And what is that intended to show?
So the running balance, I'm assuming we're talking about what the balance is right when they log in.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So that is what the investments within the 401k are valued at as of the night before. As I mentioned earlier, all investments, all mutual fund investments are valued at the end of the day. And so any balance you see is from the prior day's market close. And that's industry-wide. That's not a limitation on our side. That's how it's going to be no matter who your provider is. It gives you an idea of the ups and downs of the market. We've been hearing, especially lately with the elections and transition of power and the markets reacting and whatnot. At a quick glance, you can say, well, okay, where am I at? Okay, I'm still okay. Or, I'm not real comfortable. I want to make some changes. You've got access to that balance immediately.
Cool. Okay, maybe a little bit clarification. So the employee has selected a weekly payout,
Okay.
but his account history shows a running balance when it should be zeroed out week to week. Is that kind of a pretty specific?
That may be specific. So I would need a little bit more information on that.
Okay.
I'm guessing what they're referring to is probably a fringe payout that's flowing into the 401k and back out again.
Okay. Okay. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
So, okay, so then we're gonna have you reach out to her directly,
We can do that.
and we will get that. We will get that taken care of and kind of figure out what that running balance actually is. So,
I guess it probably has to do with taxes.
yeah. So, okay, so we will get that kind of reviewed. Again, thank you for all the questions. There's actually been some, like, this is one of the reasons why I love doing these webinars, is that we're getting a ton of, like, even great suggestions. So even all the stuff, even all the stuff that we've updated, we're getting some suggestions around, how to integrate HSAs, just, some different information that we can show on the S&P screen, so you guys, this is, first of all, thank you everybody again for joining, but this is why we love doing these, is because you guys have such great, just have such great ideas on this.
Nate, I'll expand on that a little bit more in the sense of we want ongoing feedback regarding the system. So for anybody that was with us back in the time that we rolled out our electronic onboarding for benefits, that very first client that ran through that system, the feedback we were getting from the employees literally at the end of the enrollment was allowing the development team to take that insight and go, you know what, that makes some sense. I understand what they're talking about, et cetera. And they were tweaking it. So there were people that didn't start their enrollment until, let's say, the end of the week, and other people that had started at the beginning of the week. And there was about 30 or 40% of the screens that had kind of been rewritten, redeveloped, et cetera, along the way. I'm not saying everything is going to be like that every time, but my point being is without that feedback, some of the improvements that were really, really helpful for everybody, not just that one employee or the one company, just don't happen, or certainly they don't happen as quickly. So not everything that we hear is always going to be implemented. I apologize about that right up front, but at the same rate, we really do, rely on that feedback to make the system as fantastic as it possibly can be. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And purely selfishly speaking, I've been in the industry about 20 years now, and this has been my first chance to go to our developers and say, I want this to do this, I want that to do that, pulling from prior experience on what looks good, what works, and what doesn't work. On that note, I would love for our clients, send me a wish list, send me things that, it would be really neat if we could see this or do this or have this report. These are things, like Jason said, I take to our developers because I know that everyone out there has that one thing. It's like, man, I wish my 401k showed this. And you know what? If enough people say that, we're going to try and figure out a way to do it.
So as soon as you said that, Kevin, we literally have had 4 people say, okay, what's your email address? So what's your email address, Kevin?
Absolutely. Send it to, I'll make it real simple. Send it to 401k@tagpay.com.
Awesome. So, we do have some additional enhancements, and this is not something that we are anywhere near done.
No, this is not static where it is right now.
Yeah, so this is something that we actually do have an active development team kind of working on this ongoing, and so we definitely recommend reaching out to Kevin, 401k@tagpay.com. And we will get those over to the development team and have them scope it out and see what we can do. And if it makes sense, and like we said, there's a few things on here that I don't think that we kind of had on our big board for new features.
Right.
but there's been a few people here that are asking for it. So we'll get that over to the development team and get those things scoped out. So with that, we are right up against time that we said that we were going to spend and have that. So I think at this time, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to throw one last thing out because we did have a few people ask about external HSAs when we were talking about the wallets, et cetera. And one of the things that's kind of come up, and I don't know if those folks are on the session still or if they've logged off, but I'll just throw it out there. If you want us to look at moving your HSA over to the tag HSA option, that is something that we certainly can do and would be happy to do. And I'm thrilled to say that it's very similar to the 401k question about how much does it cost. We don't charge for that. So there is no additional fee to employers for us to administer their HSA program. If you want us to do that, and it's something that you would love to have integrated into the benefits dashboard and that widget and those wallets, that is definitely something we can do and potentially even save you money if you're paying an outside source right now. So
awesome, cool. Well, I think with that,
those questions you can send at tagpay.com.
Yep, absolutely. So so not anything. And again, this is we want to keep the lines of communication wide open. So if you do have any suggestions or anything like that are non-401k related, info@tagpay.com is a great way to get that. That goes into a pretty wide distribution here internally, so that you have quite a few people looking at those emails and reacting to those. So with that, again, thank you for everything for spending some time with us today. And again, we will be sending out this presentation emailed out to everybody that registered, but it will also be available within Viper. We will send out a link to this when it becomes available as well. The presentation as well as the webinar, recording of the webinar, as well as on our InfoBits blog. So with that, Kevin, thank you very much for spending some time with us today. Jason, thank you so much. Pleasure. As always. And we will see everyone soon.
Sounds good.